welcome. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, a federal high court Lagos orders final forfeiture of $153.3 million belonging to the former petroleum minister Diezani Madeke. Federal government gets 70 million euros from European Union to strengthen the health sector here in Nigeria. The National Population Commission to begin pre-national census exercise starting from February the 20th. And a suicide attack in popular traditional site in southern Pakistan kills over 70 people.
And in business news tonight, Central Bank of Nigeria denies allegations of disparity in allocation of foreign exchange to individuals and corporate organizations. On sports news tonight, World Football governing body FIFA plays down threats of hooliganism at next year's World Cup in Russia.
And from Abuja, the United Nations intervenes on the Northeast humanitarian crisis, appeals against forced relocation of IDPs in the northern region.
We begin with what the court has called the final forfeiture of the sum of $153.3 million linked to the former petroleum minister Diezani Madeke. The monies in question were allegedly siphoned from the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation and stashed in 3 banks in the country. Justice Muslim Hassan, in the judgment delivered today, held that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission had successfully proved that the monies were proceeds of an illegal activity. Our judiciary correspondent Shola Shoyeli reports.
It's a big win for the EFCC and the war against graft. The road to this victory started on the 6th of January when Justice Muslim Hassan granted an interim order for the sum of $153.3 million to be forfeited to the federal government following an ex parte application by the anti-graft agency. At the last adjourned date, however, a banker, one Dauda Lawal, listed as the second respondent, had challenged the final forfeiture of about $40 million, totaling about 9.8 billion naira out of the money. Through his counsel, Charles Adeogun Phillips, he urged the court to issue an order directing a refund of the sum on the grounds that the EFCC had obtained it from him by coercion. He submitted that his client admitted having received the sum of $25 million of the sum in clear dispensation of his duties, but was coerced by the commission to further admit receiving a total of $65 million. He therefore sought a refund of the balance of $40 million, which he said he had to borrow from family and friends to pay. In his judgment on the case, Justice Hassan ordered a final forfeiture of the unclaimed sum of 23.5 billion naira and $5 million to the federal government. In respect of the second respondent and the 9.8 billion naira, the judge held that he could find no evidence of coercion or inducement. In arriving at this decision, the court dismissed an application seeking leave to file further affidavits in support of these claims, a situation which, if granted, would have arrested and delayed the court's judgment. On the whole, Justice Hassan said he was satisfied that all the conditions stated in Section 17 of the Advanced Fee Fraud and Other Related Offences Act was duly fulfilled by the EFCC, and he proceeded to order the final forfeiture of all the money to the federal government. Counsel to the second respondent was not available for comments on the judgment, but the EFCC described it as bold and commendable.
The fight against corruption is a collective fight. All of us must join hands together and pursue this monster that is gradually destroying all of us.
The Commission also says that it would make moves to secure all the parties from whom these monies were forfeited so that they can have their day in court. Shola Shoyeli, Channels Television News.
In another corruption allegation, this time involving the former Chief of Air Staff, Air Chief Marshal Diko Umar, the star witness told the Federal High Court in Abuja that the sum of 558 million naira was usually given to the Air Chief as his monthly upkeep from the coffers of the Nigerian Air Force, although the money was not documented. The witness, Air Commodore Salisu Yushau, also said in his evidence Now, the former Chief of Air Staff cumulatively collected over 13.3 billion naira for 2 years. The witness, who was the Director of Finance and Accounts, Nigeria Air Force, also told the court how he assisted the retired Air Chief to acquire properties across the country worth over 2.3 billion naira out of the monthly upkeep. Air Marshal Diko Umar was rearraigned before the court by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on a 7-count charge of money laundering while he was the Chief of Air Staff between September 2010 and 2012. Away from the courts, meeting the digital broadcast switchover deadline for June 2017 set by the International Telecommunications Union appears unlikely to some Nigerians, but the Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, says achieving the target is a possibility. The minister was speaking at a public hearing of the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee set up to investigate the process of the planned digital switchover in Nigeria. On his part, the chairman of the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria and chairman Channels Media Group, Mr. John Momo, made a case for a seamless switchover transition as against emphasis on deadlines. Our correspondent Larry Lasisi reports.
This is a public hearing organized by an ad hoc committee of the House of Representatives.
And of course, not forgetting.
The hearing is focused on the process of the digital broadcast switchover and the possibility of achieving the June 2017 deadline. Present at the event is the Minister of Information, regulators, media owners, and key players in the digital transition process. The lawmakers emphasize the importance of the digital switchover.
The digital switchover, as you are aware, is a global innovation currently making waves around the world. It is a time-bound with dire consequences for countries that are unable to switch over at the given deadline.
The National Broadcasting Commission, speaking on the ongoing process, outlines steps that have been taken so far.
We're trying to create a national content development fund, a trust fund run by very eminent Nigerians. Then that money will be set aside to be able to get young people to have access for funds to be able to produce programs for Nigerian television channels.
The Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, says there is a need to review the business model inherited from the previous administration before the set deadline. But can that deadline be achieved?
Yes, we know it's very, very ambitious. But if you aim for the sky, you might at least get the ceiling. We don't want to say, oh, June 2017 is unachievable. We'll relax. But if we are able to roll out another six by May, then we know where we are.
For the chairman, Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, BON, and the chairman, Channels Media Group, Mr. John Momo, emphasis should be placed on ensuring that the interest of stakeholders and the country is put first. He also touched on the deadline.
But again, I say that we shouldn't be looking at deadlines. I think we should just work towards making sure that we have a very good switchover. When we set a deadline, we put ourselves under pressure. The ministry is working very well with the border states to make sure that there's no confusion in terms of interference. We should just be focused and see how can we transit to digital rather than emphasize deadlines. Deadlines will put us in trouble.
Everyone at the event agrees that there is a variety of issues that need to be addressed, from the legal framework guiding the process, which must be amended, to the need to get state governments involved in the process, and also create more public awareness for the switchover from analog to digital broadcasting. Lanre Lasese, Channels Television News.
The federal government has started the verification of its monthly budget support facility to states to ensure that benefiting state governments comply with the agreed fiscal sustainability plan prescribed by the National Economic Council. This disclosure emerged at the first NEC meeting this year, presided over by Acting President Yemi Osinbajo. According to the Finance Minister, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, 8 accounting firms have been appointed and have already begun the audit process.
I also gave an update on the budget support facility which we're giving to states and confirmed that the 8 accounting firms appointed have actually started their verification work. The National Economic Council also approved the following nominees as board members of the Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority. Furthermore, the NSIA, the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, presented their reports to Council and their annual report and accounts for the year ended 2015 and 2016. And in their report to NEC, they gave reports on the various investments that they've made. And the reports highlighted an improved financial performance of the fund during the year under review, and a plan to invest strongly in infrastructure, including social infrastructure, housing and healthcare. Council adopted the report of the NSIA and also agreed that we would inject another $250 million into the Sovereign Wealth Fund to be sourced from the excess crude account.
Against the backdrop of rising fatalities resulting from road accidents, the federal government has inaugurated the National Road Safety Advisory Council. The acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, performed the exercise inside the council chamber of the presidential villa in Abuja, with 6 state governors drawn from each of the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, the secretary to the government of the federation, and some ministers as members. Our State House correspondent Chukwuma Onekusi reports.
Statistics indicate that in 2012, over 4,000 lives were lost through road crashes, and that's just in Nigeria alone. Such startling statistics jolted the United Nations to declare the period 2011 to 2020 a decade of action for road safety. It has also jolted the Vice President, state governors and ministers in Nigeria to show concern for the menace of road traffic crashes.
Road Safety Advisory Council.
The Advisory Council here being launched is following a mandate for every member nation of the United Nations to put adequate measures to address the scourge of road accident by the year 2020.
Inauguration of which we are witnessing here today, the National Road Safety Strategy document provides for the establishment of a technical working group. Membership of the technical working group will be drawn from state governments and state motor vehicle administration and vehicle inspection offices, as well as state traffic management agencies, the Nigerian Police Force, relevant MDAs, professional associations, and the media, as well as women and youth.
Members of the council here inaugurated by the Vice President include 6 governors representing the 6 geopolitical zones of the Federation and some key ministers.
For the safety of our roads and the ultimate benefits of the Nigerian people. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen.
The Road Safety Corps Marshal further explains the challenges of road accidents in the country and what the Advisory Council should be doing.
It shows now that the government, both at the federal and state and local government, have really demonstrated openly the commitment towards enhancing safety of lives and properties on the highways.
State governments are expected to buy in and ensure adequate budgetary provision for the maintenance of Nigerian roads. The road safety has a vision of a country where road crashes result in no deaths, and a goal of reducing road traffic fatalities by 35% by 2018. Chukwuma Onekusi, Channels Television News.
In part 2, after the break, our big story tonight assesses the visits of the acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, to the South-South region of Nigeria. That's in a moment. Please stay with us.